Hello, I'm Doug, and this is the Taste and Sensibility channel. And today on Mild Melty Cheeses number 19, we're looking at this cheese called Tomme Aux Fleur. Pardon my French. This is another one from Herve Mons, which I usually get from Whole Foods, but it came from St. James Cheese Company. And it's a product of Switzerland, which is odd for Herve Mons. They're a French company, but they have curated this Swiss-made cheese. And this is an odd new thing from St. James Cheese, where they pre-wrap small pieces. So I'm trying to figure out, now that it's soft and squishy in room temperature, how do I get into it? Do I just have to cut wrapper? Oh, I think I found my entry point. There. But the name of this indicates something to do with flowers. So I read a little bit about it. It is simply a a Swiss tome, which is a farmhouse style cheese. So then I think they dip it in honey and then they coat it in flowers. So all sorts of blueberry blossom, rose petals, this thing, that thing. Do they list them? No, they don't list. Oh, there they are. Mallow, blueberry, marigolds, nuts, safflower, strawberry, and rose. Unpasteurized cow's milk cheese, aged long enough to be sold in the U.S. And I did not find it listed in Liz Thorpe's The Book of Cheese, which is my guide for this series, which is, she calls it the Havarti Gateway, and there's the Havarti in my collection, but she taught me about tomes, so this is a tome. So that's why I've got it. I just went into the cheese shop saying, give me every tome you've got. And this was one of them. So the outside's coated with flowers. And it smells a little sweet, like the honey's in there. And it smells a little vegetal and flowery. Now I can tell some good cheese aromas also. So it's a little earthy in some ways, a little sweet in some ways. So I'm going to cut some and start tasting. Very soft. It's almost like cold butter. The rind is very sticky and fibrous. Okay, that's pretty good. Most of it came off. And judging from what I saw on Olivia and Joe Cheese Show review of this, you don't want to eat the rind. I'll put a link to that too. So I'm seeing a white rind dish, like a moldy thing, on the edge here, underneath the flowers. So I'll be scraping off various parts of this thing as we move through. Oh, okay. Seems a little firmer now that I'm cutting these small pieces. It's a little less like butter texture now. But we'll take one and try. There's a tang to it. It's high moisture. Ooh, more tangy than most of these have been. Grassy hay things, barnyard things. And that's an interior piece away from the rind. Okay, let me get the rind piece, which is almost completely removed. More floral notes on the outside. And it's a gamish, it's a combination. It's hard to pick out anything. So it's an odd thing I don't usually get in the cheese. I may be detecting some honey. It's an odd thing I don't usually get in cheese, and it's not objectionable. It's just another note. Or three or four notes. So interesting. Okay, Gonna move on to crackers. I'm gonna try a nice neutral flatbread that doesn't break very well. And see how it goes. Can't say I noticed the salt right off the bat on the neat cheese, but with the flatbread, it tastes a little saltier. Interesting. It's like on the flavor spectrum, it's half dairy and these fusty cheese type flavors, and then the other half is this floral sweet honey thing. That's a really good balance. That is interesting. Wow. It's not what I was expecting, really. And I knew what it was beforehand. Okay. Let me do this on a low salt Triscuit and see if anything else pops out. It's another rindy piece, and the flavors are a little stronger, and the wheat flavors of the cracker are a little stronger too. Wow, the flavors besides cheese are strong next to the rind. So be careful when you're tasting that. So I need to get some more. Wow. So interesting how it's stringy, it just pulls off. And I'm not brave enough to try eating all that vegetable matter on the outside. The flavors from it are strong enough without eating it. They have had their influence. I might just pull off the bottom layer here too. There. Now a few cuts. Might as well get into pairings here. It's slightly sticky. So one thing I want to try is a little piece of fresh peach. So I've just got cheese and peach here. And it's not a rind piece, so let's see how it goes. It's slippery for one thing. The peach is very fruity. There's a tartness, there's a sweetness. And then it mixes with the dairy notes of the cheese. It kind of wipes out all the floral things. It's still got the fusty barnyard hay and grass notes, but the flowers were not as loud with the juicy peach in there. And then the salt contrast was pretty good and evident between the peach and the cheese. So, clean. Okay, here's a wacky thing I thought of a couple days ago. Is a piece of cheese with a Biscoff, which is a sort of a tea biscuit cookie, but it's got stronger burnt sugar, caramel, almost coffee flavors in it. They're dark, sweet flavors, but it's not overwhelming. It's not a sweet cookie, but any sugar that was in it got burned. So that's an odd little cracker or pairing cookie thing to try, but here goes. Wow. Wow. Oh man, that goes. First I was thinking, oh man, this is very coffee-like when I tasted the cracker, the cookie, but when the cheese got mixed into it, it was like cream in the coffee. Wow. Wow, such flavors. Okay, doing that again. I'm gonna use this whole thing up. This is a surprise. It's like a chocolatey coffee creamy thing. This is just not what I expected. Little flashes of the funkiness of the cheese or the floral things, or maybe even fruity, or the honey. All those things pop out and they're evident at different times, but overall it was like a coffee or chocolate drink. There may be a chocolate coffee drink. Oh wow, what a surprise. I guess that's why we do pairings. You don't know until you do it. So, one thing I'm thinking would work well with this cheese is sun-dried tomatoes. They sort of have an earthiness of their own, and they go well with things that have earthy notes. And I don't think I need much. I'm not going to do a cracker, I'll just do the cheese. And it's an edge piece, a rind piece. And there's no cracker for texture. Maybe I should. Here we go. So the cheese almost overpowered the sun-dried tomatoes. So I need more tomatoes or less cheese. And they did go together. It was an interesting tang, pop, earthiness, smokiness poking out of the cheese, but the cheese flavors were just strong. So this cheese holds up to things, that's for sure. Let me try. Ooh. Is that a really moldy rind piece? I don't know. But what else was I going to do? I also have just plain raisins, plain dark raisins. I've been trying to use golden raisins a lot, and they're just too mild. They don't stand up to anything. They disappear with everything. So let's try a few regular dark raisins. Wow. All that concentrated fruit flavor in the raisins, and it barely stuck its head up enough to get noticed. So this is a strong cheese with strong flavors, and I'm liking it, and it's wiping out lots of my pairing items. Now another thing I wanted to try was a honey. So I have here Winter Park Orange Blossom Honey, which is still liquid, which is why I chose it, actually. There are lots of strong flavored funky honeys, but this one's strong for an orange blossom. So with the flowers on the outside in mind, and now knowing how strong the flavors are here, I might go a little extra and do orange blossom honey on this Tomme Aux Fleur on a multi-grain cracker. So let's see how this goes. Can I taste the honey? That is a harmonious, interesting combination. I taste the funky cheese. I don't get so much floral. I couldn't quite tell it was orange blossom honey, but the sweetness combined with the cheese very well. So the sweet doesn't hurt that cheese at all. So, okay, that's a thumbs up. Okay, next thing we have is a French Sauvignon Blanc from Loire Valley. This is a white, light, fruity wine. I mean, I'm getting pears and apples and things jumping out of the glass here at me. Yeah, not much acidity, no tannins to speak of, as you might guess. So let's try that. Fusty barnyard hayloft next to a field of flowers. Okay, the light fruity notes here are a nice contrast to the stronger, fustier flavors of the cheese. So I would say that's a successful pairing. Yeah, it's contrast, contrast, contrast. And all of it's pretty natural stuff. That's fairly directly from milk and fruit and flowers. Okay, well, that's a surprising cheese. Even though I left half of the interesting stuff on the side and did not consume it, it's had its influence on the cheese. It made it pretty interesting. So I will put a link to the Olivia and Joe Cheese Show review of this cheese, and be warned if you don't like people spitting out things, because I tried eating it with the rind and they thought that was unacceptable and started over with the rind off. Let me say to like this video and share it with friends. Leave comments and questions down below if you had this kind of cheese or any other kind of tome. And please subscribe to the channel and click that bell to get notified when the new videos come out. So we're going to keep marching along to, I don't know, 25 or 30 cheeses here, because I keep finding some, and it's such an interesting category. So come back for all that, and cheers.